Welcome everybody to another beautiful edition of the Progressive Mind Show. We are glad you have been anticipating this moment, and we are glad to be coming your way. This evening, we will be talking about Ghana going forward after the December 7th election of this year. What is the way for us? We're going to be doing the post analysis, and we have guests from the NPP corners, the NDC, and we have somebody who is in the middle who would be discussing, who will be helping us discuss what transpired on the 7th of September and how Ghana can move forward. Once again, you're welcome. This is the Progressive Mind Show. This is where we engage the community in dialogue such as this to better our society. And so we are encouraging you to share the feed. If you're watching us on Facebook and on YouTube, it's on Facebook is the Progressive Mind Show. And on YouTube is the Progressive Mind Show as well. No, Facebook is Progressive Minds. And on YouTube, it is the Progressive Mind Show. This show can be listened to on My Star Radio. It is based out in Washington, D.C. and is a Pan-African radio station for the discerning listener. We are also live on Trend TV Africa. Well, let's go straight to our guest so we can do the introduction. However, I'm getting some feedback, and we'll see if we can take care of the feedback. I know you are accustomed to the Captain Mike segment. Unfortunately, Captain Mike is on duty. He has to be flying around the country, so we would not have the segment. And instead, we will take this short break. When we come back, the show continues. Remember to share the feed on Facebook and on YouTube. We shall be right back. Once again, welcome. This is the Progressive Mind Show. Today is December 16th, 2020. Very soon, we'll all be celebrating Christmas. Another topic we'll be discussing next week. All right, very, very interesting. The Christmas is in the corners. I know people are shopping, people are in the mood, people are lighting up their houses. All the decorations is going on. We're all in the festive mood. It's all good. This country, the United States, is going through the transition of power. A lot is going on. The struggle with COVID-19, the vaccine conversation. There's a whole ton of things going on. Going through its own situation, elections, and we want to find out straight away. We'll go to our panel here and do a brief introduction. One has been on for some time now. So Daniel AMPONSAH, who is a member of the NPP communication team in the US. He's been here before. Daniel, you're welcome to the show again. I think you muted your mic, so I can't hear you.
Thank you, ARYEEQUAYE. Thank you, and thank you to my guest and my co-panelist. I say good evening to everyone, and I'm grateful to be here with. You all.
Thank you. Next to Daniel is RUKY. RUKY is a member of the National Communication Team. She resides in the United States, New York to be specific. HAJIA, you're welcome to the Progressive Mind Show this evening.
Thank you so much. Thank you to all the panelists and then our.
Okay, thank you so much. Next to HAJIA is GIDEON ARYEEQUAYE. GIDEON ARYEEQUAYE is a veteran in broadcasting, or let's say journalism, to be broad. GIDEON ARYEEQUAYE has been I personally met him and know him at Happy FM, and I know he's been at Happy Radio Station. GIDEON, I think we have a little bit of background noise, but we'll see if we can make it happen. GIDEON, you're welcome. GIDEON ARYEEQUAYE, legendary GIDEON ARYEEQUAYE. You're welcome to the Progressive.
Thank you very much, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Brilliant. GIDEON, for those who have, for the Progressive Minds viewers who don't know who GIDEON is, please give us a little background of your work in journalism, broadcasting in Ghana, and what you're currently into right now.
All right. Well, GIDEON started off with TV3, as far as the media is concerned, and later Happy FM, ETV, back to TV3, and then with the Ghana Tourist Development Company and the Ghana Tourism Authority, and now I'm into tourism destination marketing.
Beautiful. You know, even the voice, you know that this voice has to be on radio or TV. So, Gideon, I know you were in tourism now. We were talking before the show, but please make sure that you don't take this rich radio voice away. Find a way of getting it back on the media. It would be people are getting to listen to the very authentic and silky Gideon Ayikwe's voice. So just wanted to get that out there, right? All right, let's get into
is it Gideon Ayikwe of Ghana Most Beautiful fame?
Yes,
that's right.
Yes. I see. I now remember. Yeah, it clicks. Oh, Gideon, thanks. It's been a long time since I seen your TV, but I'm glad you're here.
That's right.
We bring all those legends and all those, all those stars, all those people who have been missing for a while, and we connect them. So, Daniel, that's for your information. All right, we connect all the dots. I was just kidding, Daniel. I was just kidding saying that. But no, on a more serious note, the elections, according to international observers, and according to us, which is, let me be specific, Ghana's elections that took place on the 7th of December, according to international observers and folks who were not in Ghana, some of us here who watched it, witnessed something that seemed like a peaceful, transparent, process. Now, Ayikwe, you be in Ghana, give us your observation of what I just said, if it's true or not, and then we can take, we can listen to, get the take of our other guests.
If you can repeat your question, please. Looks like your line was breaking.
Your observation of what transpired during the day of election itself. Again, international observers are saying that it was peaceful and it was a peaceful process. So you being in Ghana, can you tell us exactly what you saw of the elections on the day of?
Oh, great. My observation. The election itself was generally peaceful. If you look at the way people had to go and queue, I think I saw people queue the previous night, some with chairs, some with stones, trying to catch a place. Yes, it tells you the enthusiasm with which people went to vote. And then on the day of the voting itself, yes, it was quite orderly, apart from pockets of incidents where election materials were not up to it. I think some were complaining about ink pads not getting there on time. But then largely, it was a peaceful process up to the end of polls. And then when it came to the counting, that is when we started encountering some problems here and there. Yes, it's my observation. This is the first time ever that I'm seeing the military being deployed to places where voting is taking place. I've been part of elections since 1992 as a voter myself, and then as a reporter. And then I knew that we have the police, the prisons, the immigration, the fire service, and sometimes the customs, excise, and preventive service going to administer the conduct of the polls. And then I also know for a fact that these people were never armed, not even with a sidearm.
Okay.
Yes, but this is the first time that we saw military being deployed in certain areas, fully armed, and it's sort of marred the otherwise peaceful nature of the polls that we had seen earlier. The events that followed when the coalition was being done is what we can say was a blot on the poll itself.
Okay, great. Thanks for a brief but concise, I would say, synopsis of what took place. There was also, we weren't there, but we heard of heavy downpour and national blackout, like lights off. Can you speak to that briefly?
Yes, obviously around this time in the hinterlands it rains, and so we recorded incidents of rains, quite heavy rains at certain places, which disrupted the polls for a while. I think for those polling stations that were affected, they tried and relocated, and then polling continued as normal. But then it did not entirely disrupt the polls. It did not entirely put off the polls. I think they had to relocate, they had to take shelter. It stalled the process, but then the rains did not entirely bring it to an abrupt end. Eventually, people were able to cast their ballots. I think the rains along the line stopped. And then in the night also, we had pockets of lights going off at certain places, but then they managed it. They were able to manage it, some using the lights from their telephones, from their mobile phones, others using flashlights here and there. You know, they were virtually able to improvise, you know, for the process to be on.
What time would you say that the lights go off? Would you say right in the middle of the voting process, or would you say that we probably get into the latter day, day of the, the process? Can you, if you have an idea?
Well, during the day, you wouldn't get anybody complaining because nobody needed lights during the day. But then whilst counting was going on and collation was going on, we had reports, across the country of places, especially in Accra, where the lights went off, and so the process was disrupted sort of until they had to improvise and find a way of getting lights there themselves. I think for some, the lights.
What time?
Yes, go ahead.
Would you say this happened? Let's say 10 p.m.-ish, 9. Can you pick a finger? Can you put a finger on around what time this may have happened?
Well, that's difficult to tell exactly when, but I think it was between the hours of 7 and 9 p.m.
Okay.
7 and 9 p.m. Yes.
7 and 9 p.m. Okay. Thanks for again helping us to get an understanding. Daniel and HAJIA, your take quickly. You were here, but what were you hearing with regards to a day of elections? Did you hear anything different from what GIDEON ARYEEQUAYE had just narrated to us? I'll start with HAJIA. Actually, we should have started with the lady first, but I wanted us to get somebody from the ground, who is, of course, not for any of the parties, to give us an overview of what happened on the day. So please pardon me today. All right, HAJIA. But HAJIA, your take on what GIDEON had just said. Do you share his same view, or you have any other, or you have a different view?
For me, I share his view because I follow Ghana politics from the inception of the polling to the close of the polling, because we have access to the media, the social media. We get live broadcast, and then so whatever is being reported, we get information.
Okay.
Yeah. So I share his view up to the polling.
Okay. If we're having difficulties, Daniel, do you want to respond to? I mean, your view on what the narration that GIDEON gave us on the day of election?
Yeah, I think GIDEON kind of captured it. I mean, in a very succinct manner, what happened on a polling day. But like I always say, everything happens within the context, right? Remember, prior to coming into this election, we had passed the vigilante bill that banned vigilantism. And it's all because of this hooliganism and people on election day trying to think that they are the most sensible people among the people who go to vote, and they want to go snag ballot boxes. When people go to exercise their voting right, somebody sitting somewhere think that they are the most sensible people, and they usually want to disrupt that process. And then think about it. I told you there was some security threats that government was trying to ward off, right? Remember the secessionist incident that happened in the Volta region. And what I told you, the government was not going to leave any stone unturned. And then prior to that, remember I told you the NDC national organizer has been captured on tape making some pronouncement about some, attacks and incident. And so government was at the very top, very, very mindful of security because it didn't want to let the election be marred in a sense that will undermine the democracy and then create confusion. So government had to take this step. It's unfortunate that they announced, the military had to come in the way they did, but the military, on a normal day, should not be a concern for anybody if everybody is doing what is right. And the good thing is that prior to the election, government had announced that they were going to deploy these military men anyway, including all the other security agencies that Mr. Gideon ARYEEQUAYE mentioned. So it was known to everybody that this was going to happen and that the military were going to be part of it because of the way government perceived the heightened risk around this election. And also think about it, this is an election that has to do with two heavyweights. When I say two heavyweights, we are talking about a vice president, a former president, immediate former president, and a sitting president contesting in an election. For the first time it's ever happened in our history. And so the stakes were very high and government was not going to take chances to make sure that some few people mar the process. It's unfortunate. There was some death, because of the military involvement, and I think that we didn't need that, but it's one of those things. But I sympathize with the deaths, the family that have lost their family.
Okay. Thank you. So that was your response to the issue of heavy military presence or the national security apparatus presence during these elections, which is unprecedented. That is your response to it. HAJIA, unfortunately, we lost you, but hopefully we can get you now. Can you unmute yourself and respond to maybe what the two gentlemen just said? Just spoke on. Yes. I think you're good now. You are still on mute, HAJIA. We can hear you.
Okay, I said it's rather unfortunate that we are talking about what happened on that day, and I just heard my brother talking about what Ofosu Amfofo said before that day. We are not talking about cooked tapes. We are talking about election and then the way forward. So let's really, if we want to be good citizens, try to tell the truth about what happened.
So what is your truth? What is your
truth? Mr. Gideon has narrated the preview of the election, the preliminary up to the polling, even up to the stage where results were
collated?
Were declared, not collated, at the polling station.
Okay.
But the biggest problem we never had any problem with security during the day up to the polling station.
Okay.
You understand? And after the polling station, we are expecting that at collection center, they will, since the results has been announced at the polling station and polling agents have signed, returning officers have accepted their signature, and then they have mentioned whoever win at that particular polling station. I didn't expect any fracas at a place where all of us are now going to just put figures together. So it is true that we didn't expect military at coalition centers after the whole day incident free.
Okay.
So this is where I think if we want to start this program very well and then let our citizens understand, and then also get the sense of what we are coming to discuss.
So,
to leave what happened, we should leave mentioning anything that will come to disrupt what our listeners are trying to get from our discussion. Of course, Ampofo's tape was alleged, and he has denied, even at the level of investigation, they could not substantiate. So it has nothing to do with this election. If not, I will also say that this thing that has happened was a dress rehearsal for Ayawasu Westwago, which the MPP General Secretary told the whole Ghanaian population that whatever happened at the Ayawasu Westwagon was a dress rehearsal.
Okay. So HAJIA, I thank you for giving, of course, giving us your point with regards to the day of elections, what transpired. Again, what I was trying to do, I mean, what we're trying to look at is your perspective on what happened on the day of elections, based off the information you heard, based off what Gideon has given us, who is in Ghana right now and who is on the ground, who was on the grounds at the time. And so whatever Daniel said is his preview, his opinion. And so I would like you to, if you want to address what he said, go ahead and do that, because listeners will also want to understand, you know, because we are, I'm here, a lot of us are here. And so we also want to understand what actually went on. So if he says something that you think that you do not agree with, go ahead and respond to it. And you can also give us your take on what you think or what you heard happened on the day of. Okay. So having said that, let's look at, so we're saying that in the history of Ghana, there has not been a time where we had this number of military presence or security forces. And what my brother Daniel is saying is that, well, there were some skirmishes and some things going on in Ghana, so the president wanted to make sure that there weren't, you know, any security issues, and so he had to beef up the number of, you know, law enforcement that were on the streets of Accra. Others agree. Others don't. What we know is that a lot of lives were lost on the day of elections. I think 6 lives due to gunshots to people who were protesting peacefully. Actually, they were not even protesting; they were just standing at the standing to watch what was going on. And so these are the things that we as a nation and as a people would have to take account of, reflect on, and decipher for ourselves. And so we want to say our condolences to the lives that have been lost during this election process. Very, very unfortunate. But let's move on from that, because we cannot authenticate who did it, why they did it, and all of that. We know it happened. Very unfortunate. The law will take its course when the time comes. But right now, let's look at the media, the presence, the role of the media, both local and international, in our election process. Gideon, again, you've been on the ground. What do you think was the role of the media during these elections, fair or not?
Let me say, and quite frankly and honestly, that from 1992, I have been part of the voting process myself as a voter. And then from 2000 as a reporter for TV3 and others. And quite frankly, in our time, if we have to report on elections, because our eyes or presence cannot be at every polling station, we do as much as possible to cover what we could. Now, what happens is that when you get to the polling station, you report what you see as is where is. Whatever you see is what you report on, to the extent that even if there is an announcement of the results and you have the results, You cannot even proclaim that as a provisional result, especially when it is probably just one polling station or one collation center. What we do is that once it is mentioned, the results are mentioned, the winner is mentioned, we mention that, or we repeat that to our viewers or our listeners, and then we wait for the certified results from the Electoral Commission, which in our time was being channeled through the Ghana News Agency. So you source for that news, because the website wasn't that vibrant then. But then as time went on, it became much better. But then basically, what the Electoral Commission would bring as the certified results is what we project on air. What we project on air. Now, what I realized is that for the 2016 elections, and I think a bit of 2012 elections, there had been quite a number of private radio stations and television stations who would want to make a projection. And so those, they hammer on are projections until the certified results are in. And so basically back at TV3, what we were doing was that we would give only the certified results to the public. If there's any projection, we'll say that it is ours. And so this is what we had gone to see or hear. But then the certified result is what will be put on the screen. And that is what the calculations of the percentages would be based on. Now, what we saw this time around, I think probably the media houses were trying to undo each other with delicate software of various angles of the election. And then when it came to the projection itself, especially the television stations were projecting their own figures. Now, these figures, incidentally, were sort of in conformity for all the television stations. And then we also noticed that for some of the results that had been taken, whose snaps had been taken and projected on social media, you find these same results being interchanged for the candidates on the television stations. And we found that quite worrying. For example, you would find, let's say, 3,000 for Nana Akufo-Addo, 2,500 for John Mahama. You have screenshots of the pink sheet. You have screenshots of what had been signed. And then you come onto the television stations on air, and then the 2,500, which was supposed to be for John Mahama, is rather for Akufo-Addo, and then the 3,000 is for John Mahama, and vice versa.
Right.
So yeah, those were the errors that we were finding with the stations, and it wasn't just with one particular station. It was basically with almost all the stations. So we were wondering what was actually going on. Apart from that, you could also say that in trying to undo each other, they were probably making a projection that they were not sure of, or somebody was feeding the presenters with numbers that were not right. For example, on TV3, one of the hosts, Alfredo Kansi, fantastic news anchor, came and announced, and he said it was a breaking news, and then he announced it emphatically, stressing without ambiguity that the government in power was leading with 149 parliamentary seats to the opposition NDC's 126. When I heard that, I felt a bit embarrassed, because if you have to make an addition of 149 and 126, that will come to 275. And we also know that there was an independent candidate who had won his seat. So if I was in that position and I was given that figure, I would want to be sure that is the mark of a good presenter. What you have to do is not just presenting, but you also must be like the final editor or proofreader of what is given to you. So if it is suggested to me that this is the breaking news and this is what we have, then I'll probably question whoever told me. So what happened to the independent person who had won? You know, and so we found that a bit problematic, and then it turned out that the certified results that had been projected by the Electoral Commission was far from what the gentleman had projected as a breaking news earlier, and it was a bit embarrassing for me.
Okay, we'll pause you on that note. We will come to you again. HAJIA and Daniel, you've heard what Gideon said. You've also heard different things, I am sure, and have observed too. Your take on the role of the media in Ghana during the elections this year. I'll start with Daniel.
Yeah, Alinko, in this era of fake news, you really have to be careful what information you see out there and how you treat that information. And so it is important that people, take their time to authenticate information, because a lot of people put things out there that are not necessarily the facts. Some do it for propaganda sake. Some do it just to distort, the media landscape and to create confusion. And so I'm not surprised if maybe that person was misled by one of those instances, but we have to be mindful that there's this era of fake news out there as well. Having said that, I think the media generally from 1992 to this point in time have been very much vociferous when it comes to our election processes, and they monitor and report on every issue. Ghana, the media outlet is said that every 20 kilometers rate, that you travel, you have a radio station to be able to listen to. If I'm not mistaken, we have a little over, 500 radio stations in Ghana. Some are local, some have very limited frequencies. So on election day, they kind of, try to report sometimes at the very lowest level of our election, which is the polling station. They try to report polling station results. And then the big media houses are able to, collate their own results independently. And then just like CNN does here, and you have Fox doing here, they're able to do their own projections.
Right.
And then to authenticate that, yes, this is the media house that has, the track record of, tracking election and projecting, even before the Electoral Commission announces the official results. And for the most part, they've built that credibility for themselves. So the media play that kind of third-party role in the process, and I think we've all been used to that, so it's nothing new. But then, remember, the media does not declare who wins an election. The official body that declares who is the winner of an election is the Electoral Commission. So all said and done, the media can do their own projections. They can, tell you who's probably going to win. But then the official declaration will always have to come from the Electoral Commission with the sole authority to announce a winner.
Right. Thank you so much for your point. HAJIA, your take on this?
Okay. For me, I would say that I sympathize with the media, because this is the first time I witnessed this kind of embarrassment on the part of the media. I really admire people in that profession, and myself, I'm taking a course in journalism because I admire that profession. But what is happening in Ghana is really appalling.
So what is that?
Yeah, and I know that media people and then media houses for the past 4 years have faced a lot of problem with this government. We have journalists that who said the truth and got into trouble, and they have to even escape to get themselves in exile.
Can you, if you want, okay, are you able to, okay, let's not say names, but
who came out with this vigilantes group that were trained in the castle? We know what happened to him, and he has to run to South Africa. And since then, you know, most of these media houses have become so intimidated, and they will want to do something that will please the current, the incumbent government, in order not to find themselves in trouble. If you look at the media terrain, since this government came, you could see that medias that are propagating opposition, media houses that are propagating opposition parties' program, all die off. For instance, Radio Gold, Muntie, Radio SYZ, a lot of media houses have found their license being seized. So if you don't sync with the government, you have to what? Be prepared to leave the scene. So whatever happened has happened because one particular media house I observe, which is multimedia, with its branches as Joy FM, TV3, Adum, they were the people from even before polls started giving polling station results. You understand? So other media houses also pull it from them. And you know where they are getting their, they started getting their results even before poll stop. They were being fed allegedly from MPP source, from Anoche's compilation. He gives to multimedia, and multimedia spread it, and all the other medias pick it there. There was no media reporting directly from the polling station. That is why we find it cut across, because they have been warned not to project any results. Let me tell you, in the US here, we know that the Fox FM, they are, and media is aligned with Republicans. And we know that the CNN also give attention to what? To the Democrat. But look at the way the election went. Even when it came to polls this year, we realized that all the polls that Fox FM did.
HAJIA, can you turn your camera up? We can see your full head. We're just seeing. There you go. Okay.
Polls even before the election that Fox FM did correspond with all other media houses projecting that Donald Trump will lose the election. You understand?
Yes.
So, but we couldn't find that in Ghana. The media were only projecting the polls in favor of what? The incumbent.
Okay, so they have different. The media had different numbers. So that's a very good comparison. Yes, in the United States during the elections this year, and
Yep.
Good thing, U.S. and Ghana had their elections back to back, and so you are right. If you're watching NBC or ABC or CNN or Fox, all the major media networks, the numbers were the same.
Were the same.
But in Ghana, we had distorted numbers with the media.
When even CNN declared Biden, projected Biden as the president-elect, all the other media were in line. They never argue or anything, because all the figures that we compare, they compare, were the same.
Okay.
And at the end of the day yesterday, when they summarized the whole thing, you see that Biden definitely became what?
The president.
The president. Okay. But it is not so with Ghana. It is not so with Ghana. You dare not project.
It is not. It's not looking so in this year election in particular.
Exactly.
Good. So
you dare not project opposition, and you don't not say anything, project any results for this thing. So when I follow them from morning up to evening, when they started the coalition, I realized that everything, we have never had an election where you see that results start coming from beginning to the end, and one candidate in this serious competition, one candidate led from beginning to the end. There was no instant where any media house came out to say that, oh, when Upper East came or voter region came, the vote of John Mahama has gone up and that of Nanado has come down. You understand? Okay. Nanado led from beginning to the end. Meanwhile, when the pinches results were coming, the discrepancies started bloating.
Showing up. Okay. Daniel, basically, HAJIA, give me 1 second.
Yeah.
So where the conversation is going seem like, and what I saw and what others are also seeing, and I don't know if you saw differently, but can you, from your own opinion, did you see anything different from what Gideon and HAJIA said? Because, and what I saw was that when I was following, I realized that, yes, all the media houses that were reporting the numbers or basically reporting on the elections had distorted numbers, like they weren't adding up. It didn't make sense to me. And they are actually saying same thing, something similar. What is your observation? Because we saw the US elections and how everything tallied. Your observation and your quick take on what HAJIA said.
Yeah, I mean, it's very, I'm shocked that, I mean, HAJIA will say that the numbers have to tally. If the numbers really tally, then that is why I'm suspicious. That shouldn't be the case. If you have independent people collecting data at different points in time, they are not all at the same spot at the same time. So why will you expect the results to be the same? Some will be, some would have done maybe 10 constituencies, some would have done 11, some would have done 12, some would have done maybe 15. So at any point in time, they are all not going to be doing 15, because it depends on when they are getting that reporting and when that reporting is coming through to their station. It's not as if they have one representative.
It's rather that you are in the same line. What I'm saying is that we never saw any disparity in even from the beginning. You understand? Though, like Mr. Gideon was saying, there was competition. Everybody wants to get everything to project his this thing. What I observed is that the figures, there was no disparity in the figures that all the media houses were picking up. It is like one source was feeding all of them. You understand? There was no disparity. We haven't heard, like, I've been with Mr. Gideon since 1992. When they are reporting, you could see that they will, even the camera will they will show the camera, their man with camera, giving the figures at the polling station as the counting is going on. You understand? But this year we didn't get it like that. We only saw figures on the TV showing up that at this polling station, this is NDC had this, MPP had this, just a program, a lineup on the TV. There was no like interviewing media houses on the field.
Good.
For them to tell us that, oh, I'm at this polling station. The NDC man from the county, MPP had this, NDC had this, and all those kind of things. We did not see those individual, those journalists and the reporters giving us direct information. You understand? We only saw it appearing on media, on their various media, and they look similar.
Okay.
You understand? That is exactly what I'm saying. I'm not saying there was disparity.
But Aliko, you just confirmed here that you saw that the numbers were not the same, and that is what I expect, because you don't expect that each media house because they are not picking the information at the same time, and that is exactly what I saw. Some media houses were quick in knowing, being ahead of others, and in being able to project, just like Mr. Gideon ARYEEQUAYE told you, TV3. I don't know where he was picking his number from. How come he was able to emphatically say that somebody has got a 149, whereas some other media stations were not saying the same thing? That should tell you that they were doing an independent job. And it's unfair for HAJIA to say that a media that has done this particular job from 1992 consistently, this same media have declared for the NDC when they've won. This same media have declared for the NPP when they've won. But you are here accusing the media as though they are zombies and they don't know what they're doing, and that somebody have to feed them data. That is not fair to the media, and I don't think that is a correct account of what really happened. What happened was that this media, they did their own independent coalition, they did their projections. But like I tell you, even if the media is doing their own independent projection, political parties are also by themselves able to do their own independent coalition and know where the election is headed. If they're winning, they know. If they're losing, they know. So at the end of the day, all that matters is that.
On that note, let's look at, were there any, Gideon, you be on the ground, did you hear any rumors of any international entities trying to interfere in the electoral process? Did you hear of anything like that? There are some rumors. I just want to know if you be on the ground heard about anything of the sort. Okay, you're on mute.
Yeah, not that I know of at all. I never heard of any international outlets trying to interfere in the process.
Good.
No.
HAJIA, yes or no? Did you hear of anything of the sort?
No, I did not hear anything about interference. We only heard about the people that we employ into our country to man our election system, which is the Israelis, which everybody think that they were compromised. But apart from that, I haven't heard any media house from outside Ghana that interfere with our election.
Okay, Daniel, same question.
Yeah, I mean, when you say interference, how are you going to be able to interfere in the process? That
we know the Russians did to the US.
Oh
so,
no,
my brother.
No. I think our election largely is a manual process.
Daniel, my question is: did you hear of any international organization or entity trying to interfere one way or the other in this year's elections that went on in Ghana?
No, and I'm saying that our election is not electronic, unlike the US, where people do electronic voting. Our election is, largely a manual process. Everything is paper, right?
But then when it's collated, the system, the final results that comes out is not calculated on paper. It goes.
It is.
Transmitted.
No, but listen, it is on paper. But then you think that the 6 million and all the numbers that were collated were literally written on paper. It goes through a computer system, which gives us the total number of numbers that people that voted, the total number of what this candidate got versus this. At the end of the day, the numbers that is projected, that is announced, is not gotten from a paper. It's gotten from what has gone into the computer system. Is that not correct?
Yeah, Alinko, but that is what I'm saying. You must.
And then I also know that this year, this government spent a lot of money in digitizing our electoral processes. Is that not correct?
No, that is what I'm trying to explain to you. That the source document or the source record for the data that it's aggregated together, it's on the paper. And then people have different ways that they try to aggregate this result, right? It's on paper, they transfer into a computer system and they do it. But think about it.
Exactly.
Think about it. A computer system, it's only accessible, and then external interference happening if it is linked to a network. So if you're not on the internet doing stuff that it's network linked and you're just a standalone computer somewhere that you're using, how is anybody going to have access to that computer? So the EC uses some form of electronic, but that is just for transmitting the results, like faxing the results to their headquarters. So we didn't hear any interference as far as that process is concerned.
Excellent, great, thank you. Before we move to the next thing, which is the EC, the announcement of the declaration of the final results, and
can I correct something?
The aftermath. Yes, HAJIA.
Yeah, he said he didn't hear any interference with the transmission. There was total interference from the region to the national. And we realized that figures that were supposed to move from coalition center to the region, when polling agents have of all the parties signed at the constituency coalition of center, or is it the district coalition center, they got to the region, and then some of them came with a different pin sheet without having some of the signatures of the polling agents. So that means some interference with that transmission has happened between the district and then the region, and then the region to the national.
Okay.
That is why at the end of the day, we were able to get more than 100% of votes cast, valid votes cast, announced during the declaration.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Let me take to our audience. We can get back to the electoral process. I mean, the declaration of the results by the EC. It's 6:55 p.m. Central Time here in Chicago. You're watching the Progressive Mind Show. We are talking about the way forward for Ghana, and basically focusing on the election itself, trying to do an analysis on what went down and how we should expect the country to proceed with our democracy going forward. Very, very important. With me is Daniel AMPONSAH, GIDEON ARYEEQUAYE in Ghana, HAJIA RUKY from the NDC National Communication Team here in the US. Daniel is also a member of the NPP communication team in the US as well. We have Daniel, no, not Daniel, Asunaba says, tell Daniel the transmitting of the results is electronical and is controlled by foreign company. That is from Asunaba. Pearl says, I agree with what HAJIA is saying about interference. And then Asunaba again says, the media projections did not start in 1992. Media projections in Ghana started in 2000, and they have performed badly. Egyptian says, flawed elections, EC is disgrace. And we have Mani Darko says, HAJIA is bleeding. I don't know if what she's bleeding from. NDC and JM are wasting their precious time. They should start looking for a new presidential candidate for 2024. That is coming from Mani Darko. Mani is watching us from, let me see where he's watching us from. I think he had mentioned it, but I'm here to catch it. Mani says, 4 more for Nana to do more. Okay, thank you, Mani, for your comments. Pope says, you can never blame the media and the Electoral Commission. And we have Serge Sa is saying, this was reported by the Daily Post. Sa, what was that? Let me see if he said, is it true that an election observer was arrested with 100,000 at the airport? And you said this was reported by the Daily Post. Serge, if you have that news, you can send it to my WhatsApp. I'll try and look at it. And then we have another viewer who was watching us from Kumasi. I think I'm missing that one. Hassan MATOVU says, hey, y'all, thanks for a good job. Thank you so much, Hassan, for joining us. I have not heard. Okay, Ibrahim says, Ibrahim Muhammad watching live from Kumasi. Thank you so much, Ibrahim. And for all of you who have joined us this evening, live in Kumasi and at the Abuabo number 2. Abuabo number 2. Say hello to everybody at Abuabo number 2 for us. This is from Ibn Abdullah Bahash. I'm watching live. Yeah, he's from Abuabo. So greetings to everybody there. Now, I didn't hear of the international observer who was arrested with $100,000. I didn't hear about that. Any of you heard about that? No? Okay. HAJIA, I think you heard about it. Okay, Gideon, you want to respond to that quickly?
Yeah, I think it's a Cameroonian diplomat who was one of the observers. I'm not too sure which group he came with, but then it was reported that they intercepted him carrying a cash of $100,000 and $100,000, in fact, and he couldn't explain where he got that from or what it was meant for. And then they also found the call card of the president with him. His picture was splashed in front of some of the newspapers, and so that's the report that we got.
Okay. And Daniel, you said you haven't heard it. Unfortunately, I haven't. I mean, now I would say unfortunately, I haven't seen it. Can't really comment. A minute to 7 p.m. We will take a quick break. When we come back, we want to look at the declaration made by the AEC and the issue of the numbers being changed, about 6 times on the website. Is this normal? Being a Ghanaian up until like the States, during in all our elections, I have not heard that. It's never happened. Personally, I haven't seen that. I think I'm getting feedback and see where it's coming from. Personally, I never heard a thing like that. And so we want to see what is the situation. Where is the EC, the Electoral Commissioner at the moment? What is he saying with regards to this error, or I'll say this repeated error that has gone on since the declaration of the electoral results? Now, you are still watching the Progressive Mind Show. After this short break, we'll come back and discuss this particular topic. While we take the break, though, please share the feed. Again, it's on Facebook, Progressive Minds. On YouTube, it's the Progressive Mind Show. Share a feed so that your friend and my friend can participate in this evening discussion. We shall be right back.
Check out this beautifully made artistry of coffee tables made from a combination of recycled tires, jute ropes, wood, and fabric to suit your style. Yes, we make to order. These coffee tables can help you make a statement in your bedrooms, offices, and living rooms. But remember, we only ship within the USA and Canada after shipping cost is paid. Call Jasper Designs on 1-306-203-2650 or email us at doduyayra@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram at Jasper Love or follow Pearl Yara Agboka on Facebook. Don't be left out. Please place your orders now.
Well, we're back on the Progressive Minds. In a little bit, actually, I'll just give the number out. If you want to call, ask a question, or comment, contribute to what we're doing today, it's 815-277-5047. 815-277-5047 is the number. Feel free to add your voice to the discussion this evening. We're talking about Ghana, our only Ghana. And there's a lot that has gone on during this election. The results has not been accepted yet by the opposition party led by His Excellency ex-President John Mahama. And so that's a big deal. That's a very big deal. We want to look into we're going to touch on that hopefully so we can yeah, we're going to try and do that before we leave this evening. Keep your questions and your comments coming in, guys. And I'll start with Daniel. Do you think that, first of all, the elections was declared in the right way? Do you think that the announcement, the way it was done, was in conformity with the Constitution and even the tradition of how things have been done in the past? And you can also tell us, give us your take on why the discrepancies on the website with regards to the declaration of the, I mean, with regards to the numbers that has been changed about 6 times. Daniel.
Yeah, Alinko, what we must know is that, I mean, when you're doing accounting, right? When you're tallying numbers, when you're tallying numbers, you can't tell me that at some point in time there wouldn't be room for some errors. That happens. It happens everywhere, even in professional, practice. But the most important thing is, it's not about the error. If the error goes undetected, then that is problematic. If your systems cannot catch errors, whenever you build systems, they must be preventive, detective in that form. If a system is detective and is able to catch an error before it becomes an issue or it's reported officially, then that system is not, you won't say that system is a bad system. But if the error is not caught and you misreport, that is a big deal. That is a big issue. And so the Electoral Commission told us that, I mean, with the setup that they have and the new changes that they brought up, they were going to, if everything was working, I mean, according to plan, they were going to announce the election within 24 hours if they got the results. So they were trying to work within that time frame. Unfortunately, we've been told here by Gideon RUKY, it rained in some places. Some people sniped ballot boxes. Something didn't go the way it went. So the Electoral Commission could not meet the 24th deadline. And it told us it was going to do that when the results had finally come in. But Alinko, what you have to know is that the election that the Electoral Commission declares at the headquarters, it's been certified at the polling, what do you call it, the coalition center, the district offices, and then the regional offices. So at the headquarters, the EC doesn't manufacture numbers. It only tallies numbers that have already been declared at the polling station, which is where the voting actually took place. So all they are doing is, I mean, aggregating the results for each candidate. And Alinko, whenever you go into an election, there's a total number of people that go into the election. In this election, a little bit over 17 million people were registered on the registered voter, I mean, voters register. And the people who turn out on the day of election to vote was a little bit over, I think, 30 million, right? But Alinko, this is what happened. When you go into an election, if 30 million people go out there to vote, it's not all the 30 million people that vote rightly. So you kind of get rejected ballots. Some people will spoil the ballot somehow. They will vote and then maybe the line crosses both candidates and you don't know who to assign the ballot.
I understand that. I understand that. My question is, before the time, right? If you can go straight to the point for us in terms of why that declaration was.
I'll do that in a minute because this context is very important. So whenever you're calculating the percentages that each candidate get, you are calculating that based on what we call valid votes cast. The word is valid vote. So there's total vote cast. And then you take the rejected out. And then what is left is the valid vote cast. That is what you're going to calculate the percentage of each candidate. The valid vote cast is the aggregate of all the results that each candidate got. So when you add each candidate's results or each candidate vote, it should come to that number called the valid vote cast. Unfortunately, when the EC was making the announcement, it had done all this calculation on paper, but in reading out what the valid vote cast was, the EC picked a wrong number. In reading it out, they picked a wrong number. And then when people took that wrong number and they calculated the percentages, it didn't tally. But that number that the EC read out, if you add all the individual candidates, the votes that each of them got, it doesn't come up to that number. So clearly that tells you that there's an error in that number that the EC reported to us. And so the EC came back to correct the number and to say that the correct number is actually a number that is a little over 30 million and I think 190 or something, whereas the error one was 30,400,000 and some a little bit of 400,000 number, and so you can verify the correct number internally based on the data on the face of the sheet, because you just have to add what each individual candidate got, and that comes to the correct or the updated number. And that was what the EC had all this while used to calculate the percentages. But unfortunately, because they picked a wrong number and announced it, people are asking that, if you use that wrong number, you won't get the percentage. Of course, that wrong number will not give you the percentage because that is not the correct number.
Okay.
And so that has raised some issues with the declaration. It's very unfortunate, and people have created some doubt for some people. But Alinko, regardless of whatever error the EC committed, the EC is not bound to report to us, wrong numbers. They are bound to report to us accurate or reasonable, accurate, correct numbers, and that is what they've done. And then to end it, the good thing is that we, the MPP, when the election or polls had closed, under 12 hours, we had our own internal collation system. We had already calculated our results, and we know we were winning. We're only waiting for the EC to confirm those numbers. So any political party that goes into this election or an election should have a similar system, so that you don't solely rely on the EC. You can also produce your numbers. If there are discrepancies, the EC will have to look at how come we are getting different numbers and you are getting different numbers. And that is how we check the EC. Okay, excellent. Do you believe that the declaration was made live in front of in front of journalists? Were journalists present when this declaration was made by the EC? Yes. I told you there have been fake news out there. Our brothers, the NDC that have lost this election, are making all propagandist, untruth allegation that the election was not declared in front of the media. The election was declared in front of the media people. The media people were there. And if you go on social media, you see that people have created fake videos trying to say that, the media wasn't there when the election was done. Because what you usually see is that they'll mount all these huge cameras, right? And speakers in front of the EC boss or commissioner, and then he speaks through that. But in the EC's arrangement since coming to the last declaration, they've not been mounting those things. The EC talks, and then the media is behind the picket, and we get the feed. Okay, that's how. So in that video, in that same video that you and I are talking about, the electoral commissioner mentioned "good afternoon" twice in her speech leading to the declaration. Now, what do you say to that? Alinko, so if I said, on this show that this very show, we've made some errors and corrected that. What does saying good afternoon when it is good evening, what does that really mean? How does that have any bearing on the numbers that have been declared? So right from the angle, the lady is making mistakes. So is it any different if he's reporting a number and pick the wrong number and say it? Good. The only reason why, the reason why I brought that up, and I'll have Gideon and HAJIA respond to that. The only reason why I brought that up, it's not to be petty, but people are arguing from this standpoint that the reason why they think that the elections was not declared at the time at which it said it was declared, right? It said it was supposed to have been declared in the afternoon, then it was done in the evening. But then in the video that we saw, which has a declaration, it says, "Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen." And then sometime during her speech, she mentioned afternoon again. So that's afternoon twice. So based off that and other reasons, they are saying that the election was done without the presence of the media, and it was done in the afternoon instead of in the evening, right? So that is why we're mentioning this. But great point made to that. Let's have Gideon respond to that this issue as well. Gideon, please go ahead. And then HAJIA, I know it's been a while you spoke. I'll come to you, HAJIA, shortly. Let Gideon respond, and we'll come to you, HAJIA.
Right. So I see Daniel trying to hold brief for the Electoral Commission. Obviously, because it was declared in favor of his party. But I think that in all honesty, the Electoral Commission has done a great disservice to itself and to the electorate in general. It hasn't been fair to Ghanaians. It hasn't been fair to NPP. It hasn't been fair to NDC, but for the Electoral Commission's own errors, we wouldn't have found ourselves in where we are now. Events prior to the declaration, or events prior to the voting process itself, pointed to the fact that the Electoral Commission, as the referee, wasn't being that neutral. And so there was cause for concern, which the opposition raised quite a number of times. The IPAC, is supposed to be some entity that the Electoral Commission must work with. They come to a consensus. Everybody understands what's going on, and that's what they carry into the election. Unfortunately, for the regional coalition, which was introduced for the first time, because we've never had that before. Prior to this, in all previous elections, it was from the constituency level to the strong room of the Electoral Commission, the national level. And so, or the coalition centers, from the constituency level to the coalition centers, yes, and to the strong room of the Electoral Commission. But this was introduced, the regional thing was introduced on the blind side of IPAC. And so that we thought was quite a number of the CSOs also thought was going to be quite problematic. Now, for the Electoral Commission, I would recall that in Afari John's time, for example, he had a mathematician and a statistician as one of his deputies, one of the commissioners, in the person of David Kanga. The Electoral Commission has no excuse churning out errors. In an election where you win by 50% plus a single vote. 50% plus a single vote. Every vote counts. And so the Electoral Commission cannot give any excuse at all for being inaccurate with figures that it churns out, especially when it has to do with the declaration of the results. Now, what they did was pretty shoddy. And so they must blame themselves for the situation that we find ourselves in currently. Because as the Electoral Commissioner, as the referee and everything, you must make sure your figures are perfect before you put them out. Mind you, each particular vote contributes to the percentage points that they calculate. And so if you came up with a particular figure, getting a particular percentage points in the process, and then you come and correct it by deducting as much as in excess of 300,000 votes from the tally that you had, and then you would still go ahead and say it does not affect the outcome. That's problematic, because I mean it defies mathematical logic. Right. And so the Electoral Commission, and it did not end there, but on their website they came as several times at 6 to come and make a lot of corrections. You would agree with me that any party which is part of this election, and the election does not go his or her way or its way, would definitely find a problem with this. And that is the reason why we're encountering what we're encountering now. Now, yes, basically, the problem that we had with the Electoral Commission, especially with the announcements, for the first time, we had the Electoral Commission, or we saw the Electoral Commission give out invitation cards to the Accra International Conference Center for the announcement of the electoral results, which we found quite absurd, because in the past, nobody has been, officially invited, to such an event, especially to give out an invitation card. Apart from that, the basis for which they said they were going to come up with the results in 24 hours was a bit wanting, because you may have to consider a lot of things. Mind you, polling stations are scattered everywhere, some of them difficult to reach. Yes, there may be events of a natural occurrences like the rain and so on and so forth. There is even the possibility of elections, the voting process running deep into the night, especially when you have long queues and so on and so forth. So a lot of things come to play which totally rubbishes the 24-hour period that they had. But you see, the problem that we have with the Electoral Commission is that in trying to meet the deadline, they rushed through things. Now, when figures are sent to the strong room, the coalition center, it is up to the Electoral Commission to be the final forensic auditor, final proofreader, making sure that everything that has been sent to them is largely seen by all candidates and their agents, or all agents there. They attest to it. There are no qualms, because in the past we saw, especially with in Afarijan's time, I think it was in 2008 or something, where the NDC disagreed with certain figures that were coming out from the Ashanti region. He had to sit with them and thrash it out and make sure that that is solved. That is the work of the Electoral Commission. Now, this Electoral Commission, or the commissioner herself, is quite, to be quite considerate, quite obstinate, because of the fact that they said they're independent, and so they decide on what they do. And the courts have also framed up that they can take their own decisions and so on. But you see, we're working together, and so consensus is very, very key. So in order not to raise any doubts in the process, you must give each person a hearing, and you must come to a logical conclusion where there are no doubts at all. So rushing through 24 hours was uncalled for, because you sit with them, finalize it, let everybody understand, all agents, everybody would understand, yes, this is what I got, this is what has come through, and so I understand and I concede that this is it. That one, when you go out there and declare the results, nobody will have a problem with you. So yes, Aliko, the Electoral Commission, they have absolutely no business making a mistake in an election where a single vote can make a difference. There is no excuse for it whatsoever.
Okay, so Daniel, I wanted to just come back to you. Is it true, though, that the figures have had to be changed about 6 times on the EC's website? The result.
Alinko, I have honestly speaking, throughout this process, I haven't gone to the EC website.
No, but Alinko,
what I know is that, Alinko, when you have a website, right, and then you upload, and this is the first time that the EC told us that they were going to upload all the polling stations, about 38,000, almost 40,000 polling stations, all the pink sheet, or what we call the declaration form that recorded the vote of each party or each candidate. They are going to put everything on their website so that anybody who has any doubt can go and check. Like I told you, it is not for the EC to report to us wrong numbers. If they have the right numbers, that is what they must report to us. So I'm not sure about where people are creating that. It's been changed on the website 6 times. As I speak to you, the EC has certified all the results, and they've posted the final result. And that is the final result. That is the correct number.
So you are not aware that the number is not the same on the website. You are not aware of that.
No, I don't know about that. And I've been told that some people are doing propaganda and spreading fake news about this whole 6 times thing, but I can't speak to that. I mean,
HAJIA, sorry, you haven't spoken in a while, so I'll let you come in. Before I do that, let's take a few comments from Facebook. We have George Alasan says exactly that's what the EC is supposed to do. I'm not sure what George is referring to. Either you were referring to what Gideon ARYEEQUAYE said or what Daniel AMPONSAH just spoke about. Pearl says, based on how Daniel is responding to the questions, shows clearly he's just trying to make us feel there was nothing wrong with the declaration. I watched everything live, and you can see clearly there was a lot going on behind the scenes. Okay, that's her. And then she says, Daniel, you owe all Ghanaians the truth. Okay, so it's Daniel is on the table now, so let's chop him up. And Ajua Isiedu says, scripted narrative, corrected 6 times. Are you kidding? Please go check Dr. Aheto's analysis. EC gave wrong numbers 6 times. That is from Ajua Esiedu, and then Sunaba says, only in Africa will thieves be regrouping to loot again, and the youth whose future is being stolen will be celebrating. So that was quote and unquote by Professor Wole Soyinka. Okay, and then Pope says, G Pope says, Alinko, why would you say the numbers were changed 6 times? It was only once. Okay, you're following those NDC fake news. Okay, Pope, I'm not following. You can check on the website yourself. Okay, so thanks for your point. Really appreciate it. Colin Benson Benghazi says tribalism is really killing our democracy. And Serge says thanks for clarifying, Gideon. Thank you so much. Now I must say this, that the point that Serge made earlier. Here is the stuff that he was talking about, the issue that he was talking about. Let me see if I can put it on the screen. Let me do this. My system may not. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to put it on the screen, but looks like our platform that is not built for that. But he did send it, and let me see if I can try it again. Okay, it's in the background. I would have to take everybody off. Let me see if I can do that. Guys, give me 1 second. Let me see if we can do this. Let me see if we can put this on the screen. All right, we're not able to help with that, so please pardon us. That's why we need your support, guys. That's why we need your donations so we can upgrade our system. We haven't got into the CNN level yet, so pardon me. I'm not able to show you this document, but he did actually send it to us. He says international observer busted at Kotoka with 100,000 at presidential elections. But I'll try and make it happen. HAJIA, your take. I know you've been waiting patiently. My apologies. Please go ahead and respond to any of these issues that we have raised, either Daniel's points or Gideon's. Can you hear me, HAJIA? Okay, HAJIA, your turn, please.
Your line is bad. Very, very bad.
Okay, can you okay, let me see if I can make it better for you. Can you hear me good now? All right, we can barely see your face though. Okay, and it was working fine, right? When we started, I think you were good. I don't know what is changing. So what you can do is maybe exit out and see if you can come back in.
I think the line is very, very bad. Nobody can hear you.
Gideon, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Okay, Daniel, can you hear me?
Yeah, same. I can hear you clearly.
Okay, so HAJIA, I think we may have you and I, maybe our connection is not working properly. So please exit out and then try coming back in. Let's see if it works, okay?
I can hear you now.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Would you like to comment on what we have discussed so far?
Definitely.
Please go ahead. We need to see your face, HAJIA. Please, if you can lift up the camera so we can see. Good. This works. Good.
Yeah. We were talking about the conduct of the EC in the declaration.
Yes.
I think we all have passed through, if not 3 or 4 election, 4 to 5 election process since 1992. And we have seen how things went with other EC commissioners. I think this EC commissioner had conducted this election with emotions, and her emotion has really affected Ghana, and then it has marred the image that Ghana and the success that Ghana has chalked since 1992.
Okay.
Because you know the way she came in. and the perception people had since Charlotte was removed and she came in.
We don't know how she came in. So how did she come in, and what is her perception?
She came in when Nanado appointed her. And then, you know, as she has a relationship with Nanado's wife. They are family members.
Okay, we can authenticate that. So
it is true. If you want, ask everybody in Ghana. Everybody knows she's related to Nanado's wife.
I don't think that everybody knows that she's related to
That's why
Nanado's wife.
I am telling you, you can check.
Okay, but go ahead.
And if you find your family as a referee in a football match, what do you expect?
Okay, so yes, sometimes it could go left or right, but
no, with Ghana, it will never go left or go right.
It will go right. Okay.
In the US, I will believe that it will happen that way. But in Ghana, with our relationship to our ethnic, religion,
and culture,
you will never go behind.
Who appointed Charlotte Osei?
Charlotte Osei was appointed by John Mahama.
Okay.
John Mahama was not related to Charlotte Osei.
And under Charlotte Osei, John Mahama won and lost an election. So
John Mahama won, lost an election, and even before the declaration, he came out to concede.
Okay. So
the MPP had no any Ghanaians and MPP have nothing against Charlotte
Osei. Okay, but she was fired though. She was relieved.
She was fired by these people because they knew what they wanted. Since they came in, it is the second term that was their objective. That is why they were not able to achieve anything. And even their so-called free SHAs, at the end of the day, became a 9-day wonder.
Okay, good. So
that is why I'm saying that if she is committed to Ghana, and with the kind of money that was pumped into ECG, our taxpayer money, and the parties have spent a lot of money, so they are supposed to work hand in hand to see to the success of this election.
Okay.
Let me tell you, Ghanaians are stakeholders in each party, and others don't have party, but at the end of the day, they make their mind as to which side they think will benefit Ghana. This lady, from the beginning, we have authentic register. Since 1992, we have been reviewing our register every election, and then moving on. But she came in the middle of pandemic and decided that I must change this register.
Okay, so you think that
because of that, she decided to disenfranchise a lot of people, including me sitting here. That's why I didn't go home. I have been voting since 1992. You understand?
Right.
But look at the SS children. My son was in SS. They took them to school to go and register them there. He finished his papers, came home, wanting to go and vote, to transfer his vote to his place of residence. They said he should go and bring ID card. Which senior high school in Ghana or which school in Ghana gives a senior high an ID card?
Okay.
So
now
you realize that everything was a shambles from the registration up to the declaration.
Okay. So thank you.
After the election has finished, we all know that we have according to our constitution, 72 hours. 72 hours to what? To do what? To declare.
Okay, so HAJIA, let me step in here because it's 7:32, and I need to take a quick break. When we come back, I would like us to look. We've said our piece regarding the role of the EC and how the elections was conducted. Whether it was.
I have not talked about the conduct of the declaration.
ARYEEQUAYE, I think some correction is in order.
So
she did mention 72 hours.
That is a point. Okay, HAJIA, go ahead and finish. Go ahead and finish.
According to our constitution, we are supposed to use 72 hours to declare within 72 hours.
Okay.
See how you will decide to give yourself 24 hours. For the first time, you are in that office and have no experience of running election.
Okay, so HAJIA, what is your next point so that we can go and take this break?
Is that her rush to declare the election, and then she trying to create a regional coalition center, which is not something that is done in any of the election, has created this problem.
Okay.
Because at the regions, that was where they were transmitting the results to her. Most of the results that she got, the pink sheet were not signed. The summary sheet, they did not have signatures of some of the party representatives.
Okay, let's take this short break.
They changed the pink sheets.
Okay, they changed
at the regional coalition centers.
Okay.
And we find even one this thing at the problem we're having at Techima. When you saw the video of the returning officer who said that the NDC pin sheet is what? Is bent. We saw a video. It's bent and they cannot raise a copy for NDC.
Okay. So HAJIA is saying that there has been a lot of anomalies in the whole process. And so that is your point. Thank you for making that. We need to take this short break. When we come back, the show continues. You're watching The Progressive Minds live on Facebook and on YouTube. Share if you're on either platform. We shall be right after this one.
Freedom is coming tomorrow. Get ready, mama, prepare for your freedom. Freedom is coming tomorrow. Get ready, mama, prepare for your freedom. Freedom is coming tomorrow. Yeah, we will listen to mama. Yeah, we will listen to mama. Yeah, we will listen to mama.
Welcome back to the Progressive Mind Show. This evening, we're talking about Ghana, the way forward, and we are trying to see how we can basically deliberate on what transpired during this year's elections. And it's been interesting so far, the convo that has been transpiring here. If you want to add your voice or ask a question, feel free to ring in. It is 815-277-5047. And we'll take a few comments that has come through so far. We have Pope says HAJIA power, and then Jones says, I don't know who's wasting Jones' time, but stop the insult. I don't know who is insulting who. Asunaba. And then we have George Alasan says the media is more transparent. This media is more transparent, more Ghanaians TV station. Okay. Statement didn't really come through the way the writer intended it, I suppose. But thank you so much anyway, George Al-Hassan, for your comments. And then let's see. Asunaba says John Mahama did not win under Charlotte Osei. Okay, so during Mahama won, was it what is his name? Afari John? Because I thought it was John who appointed Charlotte Osei. Was it Atamils or John Mahama? Gideon, you are in Ghana. Can you help us?
It was John.
Yeah, Charlotte Osei was appointed by John Mahama, okay. And yes, she conducted just one election, which John Mahama
so
lost.
Mahama won under Afari John. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good. And exactly. There was a question here. Okay, I think that was it. Daniel, before we look at the way forward, which ties into the current location of the EC. There are reports that he's been whisked away. We saw a video of him, of her being, it was at the airport. We saw a video of her in a wheelchair. Now, this is the Electoral Commission of Ghana. Okay, so she's a very huge figure in our democratic process. Is she ill? Is she sick? Because I don't know if you've seen the video, but maybe I can play the video if you want me to. But she was seen in a wheelchair. Is she in the country, Ghana now, or elsewhere?
Alenko, I've been telling you that in the wake of fake news, you really have to be careful what you see out there.
But I've seen this, so let me know if it's fake. I've seen the video. Let me know.
Yeah, you've seen the video, but it's fake. I've told you. I mean, people want to find every fault with this lady, right?
So that's not her. That's not her in the wheelchair.
Not her. The lady she's in Ghana. The EC even released a statement saying that she hasn't traveled anywhere. The lady is still in Ghana. I heard Kevin Taylor and some other NDC people, the usual propaganda. This is why I get worried with my NDC folks. You see, when you are dealing with people, and each time it turns out that you are churning out false information, there will be a time when you are so serious and churning out true information that people will disregard, because people know you consistently to have lost credibility when you tell them stuff. That is not good communication. I have had this war with my NDC folks. That you see, when you are dealing with people, come with open mind, tell them what the truth is. Consistently, if they see you credible, any point that you raise an issue, people want to delve much deep into it. But it's unfortunate with our NDC folks. When they raise issue, nobody wants to give it, that seriousness, because most of the time you verify it and it's falsehood. And that is not good for our democracy to begin with. Charlotte Osei has not left the country. She is in the country. And Alinko, for the information of your viewers and your listeners, election is conducted based on law. And if there's anything that is contrary to law, even the EC boss herself, if he does anything contrary to law, it will not stand. Everything that she does has to be backed by the law. If she declares an election result that is not correct and somebody has the evidence of the pink sheet, the EC, only has to tally our votes. We've already declared the results at the polling station. And so we know what the numbers are. Any political party that is serious should know where it stands in the election and not necessarily even wait for the EC to tell it, that political party, what the numbers that political party got in any election. You should be able to independently do your own collation and then verify that against what the EC puts out there. So the EC cannot do anything that is not backed by law. And if she does anything that is not backed by law, I can trust you to say that the NDC have some very good lawyers that will take the EC on. So for me, everything that people say or do not say, they have the option to be able to raise this issue, put it out there in the media. And like Mr. Gideon ARYEEQUAYE said, it's unfortunate what happened with the EC. Even we, the victors, right? We, the victors, we wish that had not happened because we know we had won this election hands down. And he's giving reason for our NDC folks to reject the results. But let me put it on record. When you lose in an election or you're defeated in an election, it's not a legal requirement or a legal obligation to, concede defeat. That is not, it's just courtesy. democratic courtesy. You don't have to concede defeat for the results to stand or to be valid. And if our NDC folks think that there's anything wrong with the election as so declared, I think they know what to do. In 2012, they told us we know what to do, and we did exactly that. We went to the courts, we put our case out there, and since then we've advised ourselves and told ourselves that never again will the MPP sit down and be robbed in any election. So we've done the right thing since then, and consistently, Alinko, we've been winning the elections. Even on the NDC, when they appointed Charlotte, we put our systems in place right. We were able to get our results, and we knew that we were winning. And the EC could not have declared any other results other than what was the fact and evidence. And in 2020, we've improved upon that system, and we have a system going forward into an election that gives us the ability to be able to collate our own results and determine where we stand in the process. And I think that I will encourage my NDC folks to put their minds to, and then because the numbers will not lie.
Okay.
And stop this, blame game, blaming everybody apart from themselves, even including the
Good. The way forward. Let's look at the way forward. It's 7:43 p.m. Central here in the city of Chicago, and you're still watching the Progressive Mind Show with your favorite host Alinko, and we want to look at the way forward. Gideon ARYEEQUAYE, the way the country looks now, we hear there's going to be demonstration. That we've seen packets of it already. You are in Ghana. What is the mood of Ghana in general? I mean, genuinely, from your heart, what is the mood?
Well, I can tell you from an honest perspective that it's a pretty tense situation here. Definitely, if you have the nation at heart, you would be worried at this stalemate. One thing is also certain, that it falls within the democratic rights of the NDC to embark on a protest or demonstration, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it, provided it's peaceful and it's not something that is going to cause bloodshed. Now, I listened to the former president, John Mahama, in his interview with the Voice of America. I think it was Peter Clotty who was interviewing him. And he put certain questions across to him that, worldwide he's been projected as the democratic man and the statesman, especially when in 2016 he lost an election, he conceded and congratulated the winner, who was the current president, and then he walked away. Why is he not doing that this time? And the reason he gave is that he has the interests of the electorate at heart. Over 6 million people had voted for him. Now, the Electoral Commission's conduct in the election has not been trustworthy, and so there have been doubts. Now, if he leaves these doubts in the minds of the electorate or the people that voted for him, they may not forgive him. Now, what he wants to do, or what he wants the Electoral Commission to do, or what he wants to be done, is for an independent forensic audit into all the results to ascertain, because according to them, they also had a tabulation or compilation of their own results, and it was starkly different from what the Electoral Commission has as certified, and so that's why they're contesting it. Now, these are the options available to you, including getting an independent forensic auditors to come and audit to ascertain the truth. And then once you've been able to churn out evidence, you can project that in court. And so according to him, it may end up in court. Now, what the perception out there for those who do not want this to end up in court, and I'm talking about the NDC folks, is that majority of the people in the Supreme Court, or the judges in the Supreme Court, have been appointed by the president, and so definitely his loyalty would be to them, and that they had witnessed that in certain decisions that the Supreme Court had taken, with regards to the same process of our electoral our elections, and so they cannot trust the Supreme Court to give out that kind of verdict. And I think that the judges should be worried. If anybody tells you go to court because they think that if you go to court, it's an avenue where the matter is going to be quashed, and so they get to win favors from the court. The judges, in saving their integrity, must be worried about that statement, or must be worried about anybody who thinks that once the case comes to them, because they were appointed by the president, they're going to give a verdict in favor of the president, because they have their integrity to protect. They are independent-minded people, and so they must project themselves as such. From where I sit, I know that we've had quite a number of Supreme Court judges who have been seconded to other African countries as chief justices. Indeed, we had a chief justice here in Ghana who, even whilst he was chief justice in Ghana, was a chief justice in another state in West Africa. And so you're not just looking at one particular event, you're looking at your integrity now and after your service. Because once you're projected as a man of integrity or a woman of integrity of the Supreme Court, there's a likelihood that the world governing body, United Nations, others would find the need for you or to use you in subsequent endeavors. And so I think, yes, in summary, it falls within the democratic right of the NDC to demonstrate and to protest. It's constitutional. It must not develop into chaos. The police must understand that, yes, it falls within their right, and so they must guard them as they do with all other demonstrations. Indeed, the current president is a champion of demonstrations. He's done several of those, including one that was fatal. And so he actually believes in that. And I don't think that they're going to be in the way of the NDC. And once they've been able to bring out evidence, that evidence must go to court, as the former president said, and then the judges will use their intellectual discretion to do the right thing or not.
Okay, thank you so much. There was a comment here. Asunaba says that, I think I was trying to see if I can put it. She says, Jane Mensah is a direct relative of Rebecca Akufo-Addo, and that's true. Daniel, true or false? I think you were muted. You're still muted, Daniel. You're still muted.
Sorry, I think I'm off mute.
Yes
now.
or no?
Yeah, I don't know that, but granted that is true. What has that got to do with the process? When we were voting, every party had a polling agent and had their reps at every stage of the process.
Daniel.
So
Daniel,
whether you make John Mahama the EC boss, it doesn't change the outcome of the election, because we are all policing it.
But Daniel, natural tendency would tell you that. I mean, if my cousin is married, or my relative is married to a president, and I'm the EC boss, there's always going to be that natural tendency for people to think that, oh, if you're family with that person, then you might lean towards that. They're not saying that she rigged it because of her, but they're saying that she is a relative to the president's wife. And I just wanted to confirm from you being part of the NPP, to authenticate what they're saying. And you said that is true, but you're saying that it's neither here nor there when it comes to the elections. Correct.
Alinko, I'm not fully brave with that fact, so I won't say it's true or it's not true. But I'm saying, if it is even true, there's no way any electoral commissioner can rig any election for any party. The system will not even make it possible.
Now,
so I don't know what the point of that is.
This is the information I was trying to share earlier regarding the International Observer. So that's for everybody to see. It says Daily Post, International Observer busted at Kotoka with 100,000 and President Akufo-Addo's call card on him. So that is the man's face. That is it. The fact that it was mentioned here, and I did it, and the person who mentioned it had sent me a proof to back his statement. At least I wanted to do do him the justice of showing, backing what he has said. So that is that for everyone to see. Now, when it comes to the issue that I raised with regards to the current location of the EC and video circulating that she'd been seen on a wheelchair, you know, at the airport.
Yes, madam. Okay. Sure.
Okay, so is that her or not, Daniel?
Aliko, if the EC was traveling, he won't go through the normal checkpoint. He'll go through probably a VIP. So you
Daniel, wait. That image we just saw, is that the EC, Jean Mensah?
It's not the one. I'm just telling you that if the EC, let me give you some. Let me give you reason why when you see stuff, you have to look at it with 2 eyes. If the EC boss is traveling, she wouldn't go through the normal airport process. She'll go through the VIP.
Good.
So you see, these are people who create this fake news out there to mislead all of us. And
okay, good. So that is good. Thank you.
It's not true. She's in Ghana.
HAJIA, is that the EC from what you saw?
The image I saw on the picture on the graphic, is it WhatsApp graphic?
Yeah.
And the announcement that was made on Thursday, and even with the even mentioning the name of the airline and the airline number that she joined.
Okay.
I believe that she attempted to travel, just like Nanado.
So you are not sure. You are not sure that is her, the image of EC Jean Mensah. Thank you.
I want to get EC Jean Mensah. Look at the immigration officers. Look at the act of the immigration officer and the guy pulling here. You understand? People were passing.
I hear you.
You understand? People were passing. But when it came to her,
Gideon, from what you just saw, is that Jean Mensah from what you saw?
Well, even if there is some semblance, and I speak honestly, even if there is some resemblance there, and it's not conspicuous enough for you to be able to make her out, you cannot conclude that that is her. Apart from that, yes, if Jean Mensah would have to travel, it would be easier for her to be sneaked out through the VVIP rather than the normal place. So I cannot speak to this.
Thank you very much. That's what I wanted. I wanted a straightforward answer.
So how did the video and the pictures came out?
Well,
how did
HAJIA, we don't.
You are very fair with wrong information.
Because
people
there
are
are interested people at the airport who have seen it.
HAJIA, thank you. Let's try and move on. I want to see if we can get a few. Okay, so Stephanie says no one can be sure, and I think she's referring to that. The video we just showed. Asnaba says that's her. Okay, that's Asnaba's. It don't even look at. Okay, Pope says it doesn't look like her. And then we have Nana Kofi Ajingo says, look, Ghanaians have chosen their president, and we have to respect that. Ghana is not Mahama. Thank you so much for your point, my brother Nana Kofi. Long time, bro. Stephanie says, I thought the same thing when NPP wanted to go to court in 2012, but they still did because you have to believe in the justice system of our country. So that is from Stephanie. And see if I can take one more. And Nana Kofi says, Mahama is the luckiest Ghana that ever lived. He was assemblyman, became deputy commissioner, communication minister, vice president, went to work one day and returned home being president of Ghana for 6 years. What at all did Mahama leave in the Jubilee House that he still wants to come back for? Is it greed or witchcraft? That is from Nana Kofi Ajingo. Gilly says, I still have my doubts about the judges, though, because of how crafty Nanado is. We're still looking at the way forward. This is the Progressive Mind Show, where we engage the community in dialogue such as this for a better society. And so catch us every Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. for topical issues such as this that pertains to you and I. You can hear us live. Actually, this show is carried live on My Star Radio based out in DC. It is a Pan-African radio station for the discerning listener. It is also live right now on Trend Africa TV. And we want to thank all our audience who have been with us so far. We have about a few minutes to wrap this very important discussion up. I'll also urge our audience to visit our website, www.theprogressivemindshow.com, for your contributions, which will help us to upgrade and be a better, so we can come up with better programming for your listening pleasure. Now, Gideon, you've talked about what the ex-president John Mahama is saying with regards to the way forward. Daniel AMPONSAH, what is the way forward for Ghana right now? Because
Daniel has talked so much on the way forward. I didn't get it.
Okay, sorry, my point.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing my notice to that, HAJIA. You were so right. My apologies. I take that blame.
Yeah.
HAJIA, the way forward. I missed you. You were right. The way forward, because the ex-president has not accepted the results. The president currently is not in the country, and so and we are hearing that tensions are high. It's like a zigzag ding dong affair in Ghana right now. What is the way forward for Ghana, HAJIA?
Okay, you see, when people are aggrieved, they in a situation, and you refuse to grant them audience to be able to bring out their challenges, it becomes so difficult to see the way forward.
Okay.
Because before the declaration, President Mahama, the NDC have collated their figure. They finished collating on around 2 a.m. on the night of the election. They had all their pink sheet put together, and they have their figure. You understand? So President Mahama had the figures. The representative that went to the coalition center early in the morning, waiting to see the normal coalition that was going on previous years, did not see the atmosphere being like that. So they even complained. And then Jimensa told them she didn't receive any information from the regions. So if you intended creating regional coalition centers for regional coalition centers for presidential, because you are the only one supposed to declare presidential election in Ghana. This should have been decided at the IPAC, because previously, every time we just take the coalition that has been done at the district, transmit straight to headquarters, and then every party had representatives. Then they sit down, and then everybody bring his pin sheets and their collated figure at the party and compare. But in this case, they were not given the chance to do that.
Okay, HAJIA, you've told us, HAJIA, because of time. HAJIA, because of time, you've given us some of the things that went down during the process. We want to know that normally. HAJIA,
saying that because you have not done that.
Okay.
And then President Mahama sent petition. I was expecting that if we want to move forward, the Mensa should have listened to him, his petition, and then sit with his representative, because some of the results that came from the regions, about 4 regions have not been signed by the NDC
How
representatives.
many regions? How many regions? Can you mention them?
About 4
sorry.
regions. That's why.
Name. Can you name the regions?
I think the Ashanti region 1 was not signed. The Eastern region 1, our representative didn't sign, and then I think Upper East and then Savannah also. I'm not sure, but there were 4 regions.
Okay, so good.
And
HAJIA.
then there were also other.
HAJIA, let me come in here, guys. It's time. I think we're going beyond our time now. So, HAJIA, please bear with me, and please understand that because of our time, I thank you. Everybody has made their point.
Yeah.
I want you to be specific with the way forward.
Okay.
What is the country looking like right now, going forward?
The way forward, I am thinking is that the forensic audit that President Mahama is asking for, I think it is his right. You understand?
Okay.
In the presence of all party representatives and then the EC.
Okay. So
that at the end of the day, instead of wasting time to have about 8 to 1 year in the court, we can take maybe a week or 2 to resolve the issue.
Thank you. Now, do you believe that people should go on the street and demonstrate, the people who think that their franchise have been I'll say is being trampled on? Do you think that they have the rights to be on the streets to demonstrate peacefully? Yes or no, please?
Yes, because in
Thank you. I just wanted to get a yes or no because of the time.
Let my vote.
Daniel, do you think that people have the right, or people should get on the street, people who think that they have been disenfranchised, go on the street and demonstrate? Yes or no?
Who have the right? That was why they did.
Daniel.
That was why the NPP.
HAJIA, please, I want to get Daniel's point. I want because of time. Please, HAJIA, I'm sorry.
Our country is a democratic country, and demonstration is legitimate, right? As far as you seek the police, and they are there to protect you. You don't destroy property. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Excellent. But Alinko, let me come back to you before
I wanted a yes and no. So thank you for affirming that. Gideon, you believe that people should go on the streets and demonstrate peacefully if they want to pertaining this year's elections?
It falls within their rights.
Excellent.
Yes.
So now I'll come to you, Daniel. I'll come to you. We'll take your last words. But Per says that this election declaration is beyond NPP NDC. What happened is a disgrace to Ghana's democracy and the peace of all Ghanaians. I wish NPP members will stop fueling the anger of the NDCs and Ghanaians as a whole. George Alasan says, for the sake of smartphones, we saw all the polling stations results, and Nana Addo did not get 51% of the presidential vote. That is from George Alasan. Asunaba says, Mahama was not a president for 6 years. He was president for 4 years, 5 months, and 7 days. And Gilly says, okay, so Gilly, we already read his point. Because of time, the way forward would be would be your closing remarks. So give me your closing remarks and then add the way forward for Ghana, for the country as a whole. Daniel, your turn, and then we'll come to Gideon.
Yeah, the way forward is Alinko. And Mahama is calling for an independent audit. You know, who is going to order that independent audit? The Electoral Commission is an independent body on itself. I mean, and it's right. It's done it where you disagree with it. Alinko, in 2012, when we had similar issue, we went to court. It had to take the court to order the audit, because you can't just go and call for an independent audit. Who is going to order that audit, and who is going to give the reference for that audit? It has to get to the court, and as the NDC make their case, and as the case go on, and the court realize that there is the need for that audit, the court itself will order for it. That was what happened in our case. When we went out there and the polling stations that were in contention, the number of pink sheets, or what we call declaration form, that had been sent to the court was in dispute. It was the court that asked for an independent audit. So what Mahama is asking for, unless he's in court, that will not be granted, because there's no, whatever you have to ask for has to be backed by the law. On what basis are you going to ask the EC to conduct independent audit? What law? So, in fact, Mahama knows best. He should educate his folks and put out the truth out there. If you want that independent audit, let him make the case in court. And Alinko, let nobody kid themselves that when we go to court and the court make a determination, it only affects NDC. Whatever determination that a court makes, it affects the country, especially if a Supreme Court rule. So if you think that today you go to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court will rule because you are the ruling government, and you think that ruling is only temporal, it's not temporal. It becomes a permanent ruling that will forever change the way we conduct affairs in our country, like we did in 2012. So if the NDC goes to court, they should be assured that whatever ruling comes out, it's not going to just be an NDC ruling. It's going to be a ruling that impacts the way forward for our country. And so for me, the court is a very good place to lay out this fact, because it avoids the propaganda, it avoids the fake news that you see out there, and we're able to see the issues clearly. Because in court, you can't go lying, you can't go creating, manufacturing, fake stuff. You have to go with the fact and the evidence, and the media will be there to cover it. And people like Mr. Gideon Ayiko, who are independent, can assess through what the court is doing and come to think if the court is being reasonable or not. So for me, I like the court place, because in the Supreme Court, whenever they give a ruling and you think that it is only for the losing party, you are going to jubilate, you are lying.
Okay.
Whatever ruling they give will affect both the ruling party and the winner and the loser. And that becomes a standard bearer that going forward will guide the country. So let nobody think themselves that Supreme Court are just there to play to the whims of, political parties or a ruling government. A government will come and go, but the country, Ghana, still remains. Before in the system, I will advise them to gather their evidence. Alinko, let it be said here, and I'm repeating it here, read it from my lips. Let it be said here that any Ghanaian, if we go into an election and anybody sits anywhere and change election numbers and think that the Ghanaian people are stupid to go and vote and that they can change their will, let nobody entertain that. And even we in the MPP, we will not entertain that kind of nonsense. If indeed the NDC has evidence that something like that has gone on, Alinko, I'll be the first person to support them to take it to the Supreme Court, because we want to set the record straight. It is in the interest of the MPP to let the NDC know that we won this election and we won it fairly. And for me, that cannot be a question of, saying that the NDC lost. If the NDC comes to convince themselves in that process that they lost, they themselves, who would have convinced themselves? It would have come too late, but I think it will be better for them. So I will entreat them to go to court if they have the fact and the evidence, and if they believe that this election, somebody changed numbers or gave numbers to somebody that wasn't supposed to be the case, I'm all for it. I'll support them. And even if they want to raise funding for it, I'll be there to provide funding in my way to support them to go there, because we all want to see the truth.
I'm sure the NDC will really appreciate your support and your candid enthusiasm for their quest to go to court and seek justice. Now, you think it would be fair to say that the calling for EC Jean Mensah to appear on a national stage and take questions with regards to these elections is fair, Daniel?
Oh, I think it's fair. The EC owns it to we, the Ghanaian people, to explain to us what has gone on.
Excellent.
There can be no question about that.
Good. So something like that should happen, right? The EC come and then talk to Ghanaians.
I'll vote for that. If that,
brilliant.
That
Brilliant.
be fine with everybody.
Brilliant. Gideon, your last words, please. And this going for the way forward, your last words regarding what we've talked about so far this evening. And your thing is off again. I think you're.
Sorry. Yes, I think that the former president Mahama was magnanimous enough to have conceded when he lost the elections. He made that clear to the VOA, and now he's aggrieved. He's aggrieved because he thinks that he has enough evidence to suggest that the will of the people is being subverted, and so he must be heard. That's for sure. And so in order for peace to prevail, for everybody to have their peace, the right things must be put in place. I think that if this matter ends up in court, we're hoping that we're going to have a live telecast of it. We would all attest to the fact that this is the evidence that have been adduced. If the evidence shows that the NPP has won so be it. And President Mahama has said that if it turns out like that, he was the first to concede and walk away. If the evidence shows that the NDC actually won this election, I think the judges, who are our God on this earth, must let justice prevail. This is what we're looking for.
That was from Gideon ARYEEQUAYE, his last words regarding the way forward. Asunaba says, until Jane Mensah rectified her mistakes and declared the right results of 2020 elections and declared John Mahama the winner, those calling on JDM to concede should stop worrying themselves. The only way peace will prevail in Ghana is Jane Mensah coming back to do the right thing. On that note, I would like to thank all of you who have stayed with us during, from 6 p.m. up until now. Your comments, your questions, your contributions, your energies, we sorely appreciate it. We are very thankful and grateful. My audience, my guest, my wonderful guest, Daniel AMPONSAH from the NPP communication team. This is the third time we're having you. It's a pleasure, and thank you so much for your time. Gideon ARYEEQUAYE, the broadcaster, the legendary broadcaster from Ghana, formerly of Happy FM and TV3, now works in the tourism industry in Ghana, Ghana tourism industry. Is that correct, Gideon?
Well, not Ghana Tourism Authority now. I'm doing my own thing, tourism destination marketing. All
right, good. So for those of you in the diaspora who want to go to Ghana and check Ghana out, we have a direct connection here. He's an old friend, a good buddy. Actually, I went to intern. Gideon, this is interesting, and a lot of people don't know this. I never knew I was going to be here doing anything close to media journalism, interviewing you. And you were the icon. You were the guys we looked up to and listened to on TV3, on the news every day, and Happy FM. I was in college. I was supposed to do my internship at Happy FM. I was supposed to actually intern with Ekwaba, who was doing a morning show. And then
Ekwaba JC.
And then ended up with Kofi Jakwe, who was then the marketing manager. And
fantastic guy.
And then I got to meet you in person. And again, at that time, nothing about what you guys do, caught my eye. I had no interest. I'm like, I just wanted to come and complete my education at Central University, right? But you all rubbed off me in a way. I admired what you did, but I didn't take interest. But look at how life would have it. I'm here now with a platform, having a voice, interviewing you, doing.
When is Gideon visiting us here? I know COVID is restricted, but when is he coming?
Sorry?
When is Gideon visiting us here?
Oh, Gideon has to come. Yes, he's.
Don't worry at all. I'm not afraid of COVID, so don't worry. Here in Ghana, we are immune to the COVID. Yes, so don't worry. I will visit you next year for sure. Yes, I've been coming in and out, but then this time now I know you're there. I'll see you once I come there.
Brilliant. I know, HAJIA, I almost forgot about you. Give us your last words quickly, please. I almost forgot about you. My apologies.
Okay. For me, I know that I have already even written a letter to my president-elect,
okay,
JM, to go to court.
Okay.
But you don't go to court just within the first 2 days of election. The attempt by MPP to do a propaganda on going to court, as if they went to court on the day that John Mahama was declared. They went to court on they announced they are going to court on 28th of December. Understand? GEC gazetted this thing today. And you know that you cannot go to court without the gazette.
Yes.
You understand?
Okay.
So everybody knows that the ultimate place is the court.
Okay.
And we all support it.
Okay.
But we have to all get our documents right before proceeding to court.
Okay.
So for me, whatever my Daniel is saying is neither here
nor there. Excellent. I like that. Okay.
There are so many options.
Okay.
For the final place at the court.
Brilliant.
And I know that when we take the Mensa to court, the court will definitely call for the forensic audit.
Okay.
JM did not say any other body to call for the forensic audit. He's only asking for forensic audit. Why? But he wants to what? Get his documents right.
Okay.
To ask the court to force the Mensa to do the needful.
Right thing.
That is why we will get the forensic audit coming to her.
Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you on that note, because I have to get the last words out, and I missed there, and we are what 17 minutes past the time. Gideon, it's like I'm sure it's good almost 2 a.m. in Ghana now, and for your time, we appreciate you, and my audience appreciates you. Thank you so much. We are hoping that we can come back and talk about tourism in Ghana, the year of return, the opportunities in Ghana, and all of that. Right, so. It's a great opportunity, and again, thanks to my audience for such a wonderful time. Next week, Wednesday, 6 to 8 p.m. Central Time here on the Progressive Mind Show, we will be talking about Jesus and Christmas. Was Jesus born on December? Was Jesus born in December?
When I bring Gideon back to come and tell us what the tourist sites are and educate people.
Well, I'll let you know. I'll let you know. Right. Gideon is never ready. He'll be back here. He'll be back here.
I'm never ready. I can tell you for a fact that any government that will place premium on tourism in Ghana will make so much money that oil will play second fiddle to it.
Okay. Good. That's another topic right there. So expect that. Gideon just gave you some look for on the Progressive Minds. But then Wednesday coming, 6 to 8 p.m., we are talking about was Jesus born in December, and is Christians, and what's the correlation between Christians and Christmas? Very, very interesting. Don't miss it. On that note,
my answer to that before you do that topic is no, he wasn't. and let me be part of that discussion. I'll be very, very glad to. Yes, I'll be raising eyebrows.
Excellent. Okay. On that note, we would like to thank you all once again. We love you so much. This has been the Progressive Mind Show. Remember, to whom much is given, much is required. We shall see you next week, to Wednesday, 6 to 8 p.m. God bless. Daniel, HAJIA, Gideon, it's been wonderful. God bless you guys. Goodbye.
Yes.
Freedom is coming tomorrow. Get ready, mama, prepare for your freedom. Freedom is coming tomorrow. Get ready, mama, prepare for your freedom. Freedom is coming tomorrow. Yeah, you will listen to mama. Yeah, you will listen to mama. Yeah, you will listen to mama.
Oh better, bang, 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 bang. If you like to dance, then don't worry. I made a new one, I don't to bounce. Yeah, move body, dance to the beach, right, na na na. Ziggy go crazy, I don't to bounce. Holy go crazy, I don't to bounce. Dance God Lord crazy, I don't to bounce. One Bob Molly crazy, I don't to bounce. Choo crazy, I don't to bounce. Your feet crazy, I don't to bounce. If let's go crazy, I don't to bounce. Belly go crazy, I don't to bounce. Mini nani. Zanku is boring. Giddy sonny. Naja be touching. Asoto die eye koko. Naja for friend no alingo. Asawe die eye simple. Fana don't call me now. Watch me do my azonto. Now watch me do my azonto. If you like to dance, then don't worry. I made a new one. Azonto bounce. Down move body. Dance to the beach right now. back, yeah. As on toy like more money, I bring them back like Sankofa. I spy some small, no papa. You hear more songs by my own bada. Forget it, no man can contest it. Forget it, my assunto blow bad, forget it. If you like to dance, then don't worry. I made a new one, assunto bounce. Can't move body, dance to the beats right na na na. Ziggy go crazy, assunto bounce. Holy go crazy, assunto bounce. Dance God Lord crazy, assunto bounce. One Bob Molly crazy, assunto bounce. Choo crazy, assunto bounce. Your feet crazy, assunto bounce. If let's go crazy, assunto bounce. Belly go crazy. If you like to dance, then don't worry. I made a new one, assunto bounce. Can't move body, dance to the beats right na na na. Ziggy go crazy, assunto bounce. Holy go crazy, assunto bounce. Dance God Lord crazy, assunto bounce. One Bob Molly crazy, assunto bounce. Choo crazy, assunto bounce. Your feet crazy, assunto bounce. If let's go crazy, assunto bounce. Belly go crazy, assunto bounce. Assunto bounce, assunto bounce, assunto bounce. If you like to dance, then don't worry. I made a new one, assunto bounce. Can't move body, dance to the beats right na na na. Ziggy go crazy, assunto bounce. Holy go crazy, assunto bounce. Dance God Lord crazy, assunto bounce. One Bob Molly crazy, assunto bounce. Choo crazy, assunto bounce. Your feet crazy, assunto bounce. If let's go crazy, assunto bounce. Belly go. Oh better, oh better, oh better, oh better, bang 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 bang. If you like to dance, then don't worry. I made a new one, assunto bounce. Can't move body, dance to the beats right na na na. Ziggy go crazy, assunto bounce. Holy go crazy, assunto bounce. Dance God Lord crazy, assunto bounce. One Bob Molly crazy, assunto bounce. Choo crazy, assunto bounce. Your feet crazy, assunto bounce. If let's go crazy, assunto bounce. Belly go crazy, assunto bounce. Mini nani. Zanku is boring. Giddy sonny. Naja be touching. Assunto die eye koko. Naja for friend no alingo. Asa we die eye simple. Fana don't call me now. Watch me do my assunto. Now watch me do my assunto. If you like to dance, then don't worry. I made a new one, assunto bounce. Can't move body, dance to the beats right na na na. Ziggy go crazy, assunto bounce. Holy go crazy, assunto bounce. Dance God Lord crazy, assunto bounce. One Bob Molly crazy, assunto bounce. Choo crazy, assunto bounce. Your feet crazy, assunto bounce. If let's go crazy, assunto bounce. Belly go crazy, assunto bounce. Assunto bounce. Back in my little sound. Assunto bounce. Back, yeah. Assunto like more money. I bring them back like Sankofa. I spy some small, no papa. You hear more songs by my own bada. Forget it, no man can contest it. Forget it, my assunto blow bad, forget it. If you like to dance, then don't worry. I made a new one, assunto bounce. Can't move body, dance to the beats right na na na. Ziggy go crazy, assunto bounce. Holy go crazy, assunto bounce. Dance God Lord crazy, assunto bounce. One Bob Molly crazy, assunto bounce. Choo crazy, assunto bounce. Your feet crazy, assunto bounce. If let's go crazy, assunto bounce. Belly go crazy. If you like to dance, then don't worry. I made a new one, assunto bounce. Can't move body, dance to the beats right na na na. Ziggy go crazy, assunto bounce. Holy go crazy, assunto bounce. Dance God Lord crazy, assunto bounce. One Bob Molly crazy, assunto bounce. Choo crazy, assunto bounce. Your feet crazy, assunto bounce. If let's go crazy, assunto bounce. Belly go crazy, assunto bounce. Assunto bounce, assunto bounce, assunto bounce. If you like to dance, then don't worry. I made a new one, assunto bounce. Can't move body, dance to the beats right na na na. Ziggy go crazy, assunto bounce. Holy go crazy, assunto bounce. Dance God Lord crazy, assunto bounce. One Bob Molly crazy, assunto bounce. Choo crazy, assunto bounce. Your feet crazy,